Hang on just a second.
Uh-oh.
Wait,
Still not ready?
wait.
Monkey,
Well, she
she
says
says
that you're waiting on us.
Yeah, to get set up. Check, check. Hi, everybody. Hi. Like an hour and a half watching us set stuff up. Hi, how you doing? So anyway, we're going to do lightning talks. Who else is going to do a talk? This is going to be a short fucking afternoon. You going to do one? Yeah, do one. That'd be awesome.
What about me?
So you're going to do physical security. You are?
I'm guessing.
And you are? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone. If you don't know me by now.
I'm just kidding. There you go. Have fun, guys.
Okay, so we're talking about physical security because we work at a company that will remain nameless.
Yeah, CIO was like, don't say her name.
Yeah, don't say where you work. So anyway, we work at a company and we noticed some pretty gaping holes in physical security. We'll leave the network alone for now, but the physical security was pathetic. So we titled this talk, Physical Security, Make Sure Your Building is Butter Knife Proof. Because our company was not.
And your name is ginsu.
And I am ginsu. Okay, so we went for the red team. And here's Charles with a butter knife. Look at that pin pad RFID reader. Thank God for that.
Oh, it gets better.
Oh, it gets better. And at this point, I'm laughing my ass off.
Pause real quick. So right here,
That's 2 doors, right?
Yeah, that's 2 doors.
yeah. So right here,
Two doors.
So right here, I noticed that like you don't see me touch the doorknob here, but it takes about 2 weeks after we did all this. I noticed that, oh yeah, this handle's unlocked and you can actually just use the handle to open the door.
So if he touched the handle, he would have been through faster. Moving right along.
Yeah, so I didn't have to shut the door.
So
And
to show you how long it took, I cut out the video for this part, but just so you can see what the total length is, I censored these parts because our CIO didn't want everyone to see the inside of our building. Well, at this point, we're getting to our main server room, which he shoulders open, and he grabs a can of duster instead of ripping the hard drives out of the servers, and we gotta run through part of the office that he didn't want you seeing again. And in just a few seconds, we should be back out. So there we are, exiting the building. Now, at this juncture, Charles calls Jason, our security guy, and he's like, "Are you guys in yet?" And we're like, "No, we're out already." He's like, "Well, you couldn't have taken anything." We're like, "Well, you could have taken all the external drives."
And if you couldn't hear the audio, which I wish we had a channel hooked up for it, as I was going through the first 3 doors.
So, just to prove that we made it in at the time, because I couldn't live cast the video to him over 3G because Sprint sucks, I took a picture of us duck facing in front of the main server rack and sent it directly to the CIO. He wasn't pleased.
Pause before you keep going. So, I wish we had audio because the first 3 doors I went through,
I was laughing my ass off.
yeah, he's dying because I'm going through it faster than you could if you had a key.
Yeah, it was that bad. So, I mean, a butter knife and a plastic card, and we were all the way in.
That's what she said.
Yes, it is.
Indeed. So, here's the second building we did at the same company.
And in about 10 seconds, you'll hear me go, how the fuck did I do this again?
So it's starting to get late at night, and he's forgetting how he did this the first time, so a little bit slower, but still, he's just working with a butter knife here.
Hey, give me some credit.
Did you bring the butter knife?
Yes, we brought our own butter knife.
Did you bring it to the con?
It's in my car.
The legendary butter knife?
Yes.
It's in the car.
It is actually in the
You
car.
should auction it off at the end of the con.
So if anybody wants autographs from the legendary butter knife. And as you can see, that's a server room.
Yeah.
They just kind of shouldering a plastic card right through there, and we grab something again, and we're right the hell back out
Now,
again.
you guys already knew the floor plan before you went in there, didn't you?
No, so, I mean, a lot of it is, so our goal for the speed runs were someone had a tour because we do have, like, kind of constant tours because we're in ISO. So, people do come they like in the main building they know where that server room is because it's next to like the dog and pony show that we showed everyone to be like, yeah, look, we're awesome.
That's another thing about physical security that we have a problem with. We've been trying to change our policies and procedures is that every single customer that comes in to get a tour of the building, we show them our main server room. So if they were professional at B&E, obviously, all they have to do is, well, now that they've been shown where the hell it is, get in, get what you want, and get out.
Of course, a brick would work just as well as anything.
We haven't quite solved that problem yet. Yeah, a brick would still get you through.
I can't tell you how.
Way too much cost.
I can't tell you how.
Well, yeah, but a
that
brick would probably set off the alarm. Did yours?
You'd like to think that, but they don't have glass shatter sensors. No.
Yeah.
Did the butter knife set off the alarm?
The opening the doors did, but when we did the speed run, like he literally got the first alert by the time we were already back out the building, and so if it takes, and then we don't have an alarm company yet. We're working on that. But so for you to
Even worse then.
that's a secret.
This is why we can't tell you where we work.
Yeah, but fuck, I forgot where it was. But yeah, so if it takes at least 3 minutes for the cops to respond, plus, so we don't have an instant reaction from an alarm company.
Oh yeah, forget how long the cop reaction time is. The real problem is that as it was when we broke in, the only person that's notified instantly was our security guy. So he gets the notification, and then he's not actually sure if it's a break-in or if it's just, shitty contact sensors on the door. So he has to determine whether it's a break-in, then call the cops, and then you're waiting on their reaction
So if
time.
he shows up and gets shot, it's over.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay.
I don't think he would actually go in. He'd probably
have a
just
script
VPN in and
like
check the
sends
camera
pictures
server
at
and
the
start
time.
watching and seeing if he see somebody doing a B&E in it, at which point he would call the cops. I don't think he would show up in person.
So,
Well, to
so
be
this
fair-
alarm system is so sophisticated. Are there plans to file a lawsuit for?
Well, there are a few things I found while going through the actual security system, like some jackass hooked up a 12-volt battery to a 24-volt system and then just left it that way for a couple years. Yeah, so, the amount of shit that we're finding, we do actually have a lawsuit, I think, in the works somewhere. But some of it's just, no one actually really sat down and went, I can get that. So a funnier part of the story that we didn't have in here is our security guy, because he gets a text and an email for every alert that goes off.
Oh, yeah.
And not only does he get a few thousand of these a week because, like, the sun changing position sets off a motion detector, we DDoSed his phone to the point where it crashed.
Yeah, because when we did our initial break-in, these were our speed runs, but when we did the initial break-in, we knew that he was getting individual alerts for every few seconds that a door was left open, so what we did was when we got into one of the interior doors in the lobby, we just propped it open and DDoSed his phone. More than once. Like, he pulled the battery, started back up again, start receiving message, crashed it again. So, at which point, he didn't know what was going on anymore.
Well, and if it had been any other weekend, he wouldn't have been paying as close attention. Because, literally, it goes on. We gotta work a lot on the sensitivity of.
Yeah, did you say that leaves blowing by some areas would set off his sensors? Yeah.
They were. Whoever the idiots that set up all this were before, we're not working with them anymore and haven't been for a while.
Yeah, anything security related to our company was set up by kindergartners on acid. Moving on. So now some still shots, because we didn't show every door that we broke into in the video, because that was our speed runs, but this is actually the...
Like marijuana on a shirt.
Yeah, what's on your shirt, Charles?
It's some Hawaiian thing. I nagged it.
Maui Wowie?
So at any rate, this door is actually the main electrical for the building, and you can see here, actually, there's a little plate. There's a little plate right here. That was put on within a week of when we broke in because we already said, hey, that's pretty bad.
No. It wasn't within a week. It was the same week. So we were kind of pointing out what we were looking at hitting, and so they're like, well, we'll fix that real fucking fast. And so they went and put these on a few doors, and so it went from using a plastic card to get in that door to a slightly longer knife, and didn't really mediate anything.
Yeah, so they put this little plate on, and instead of using a butter knife, you used a long kitchen knife, at which point you've got access to all the power for the building, and the battery backups are in there too. So, if you want to break in without being seen, all you have to do is just go take out all the electrical beforehand.
And you guys maintain all the credit cards for Visa and stuff, right?
We didn't say that.
We don't deal with them.
That's not the particular card company we work with, but at any rate, here's...
Silent Scott.
Wait, yeah, this was the,
This
is the third
I didn't need that.
if you remember in the video, this was the third door that we went through that wasn't actually locked. But we didn't know that at the time.
No, we just forgot it because we were all happy about breaking into shit. So.
We were blackboxing it. We had no idea whether it was locked or not. Here's another one. All these were just popped open with, plastic card shit.
Yeah, except for this one.
Except this one, which we did with a small flathead screwdriver. See, the thing was, this door used to be an entrance to the building, but they turned this area into an office by just walling it off. So instead of welding the door shut, putting a deadbolt or something in, they just took out all the mechanism for the door handle and put a plug in it. So you pop the plug and manipulated the mechanism.
So even better, they don't even put a good plug in there. The plugs are supposed to screw into place.
It was just kind of half-assed stuck in there. We just popped it out.
Yeah, I popped the motherfucker out with a small flathead screwdriver. Literally, the head on that thing was this big. I just boop, boop from each side, and it came out. And then at which point, and then off to the side you can't see, but they put one of those little silly latch guards on it too. Which, if you look up at the top right, you can kind of see where it's been dinging against the top because it sticks up there. If it wasn't for that, them putting the little latch guard on it, I probably couldn't have opened the door because I needed the leverage. So they gave me the doorknob for free.
Yeah, pretty much just use the latch cover to open the door with. So that was very nice of them. This is actually the main door into the lobby. You can see the glass door that's propped open in the background. Yeah, that's one we left open to DDoS the security guy's phone. But yeah, we got in there with a long kitchen knife. And then the other door, we'd actually come in through another side and propped it open, but we could have just, can a duster to...
Well, no. So this one, they thought they were all smart, and...
What does your tool bag look like if you use the
we're getting that. We're gonna get to that near the end. We're gonna show you all the tools we use for this right here. Yeah.
So they thought they were smart turning off, the people sensors so that you can actually exit the door, so you have to use the emergency buttons. So, you can't go in there with a piece of cardboard and go flap, flap, flap. Well, they didn't do it for all the doors. There was a break room door that we didn't get past the first round, but we went back later.
Oh, there's a reason why we didn't get past it the first round. Yeah, they didn't tell us anybody was going to go into work over the weekend. So, while I had a claw hammer prying the break room door as a steel door, while I was prying it open, he was sticking a trash bag in there to blow up so we could wave it and trick the proc sensor. 2 employees wandered by and were all, basically scared shitless.
Well, and here's the thing, is they left the fucking people sensor on. And so they walk into the room.
As the person walks around the corner, the door just popped, I'm pulling on it. I'm trying to leverage it open with a claw hammer, and they walked up and just popped open.
Yeah, so it sets it off, so we have that fixed now. So that's all good.
Alright.
Condom works too.
Yeah. Well, can the duster upside down works just as well too.
This is the one on building 2. Again, butter knife. Butter knife.
I let him do
Even
one.
I could do it with a butter knife, and I'm not that good at B&E, so it's that bad. Plastic card into yet another server room.
Kitchen knife.
Kitchen knife into a back door. Thank God they have those, pin-protected RFID readers out there, right? So these are the tools in our tool bag for B&E on a small to medium-sized business. That is one of our actual company-issued prox cards. We didn't use it to gain entry the legitimate way. We used it to shim doors. And, of course, immediately to its right is the legendary butter knife, followed by the long kitchen knife and a small flathead screwdriver. And that was all we used. And we hit something like 80% of the exterior doors and almost all of the interior doors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if somebody can break into your business with that, God help you if they're professionals.
Yeah. Two idiots on a weekend Saturday just fucking with doors thinking,
Right. So I just wanted to stop because I noticed this while we were breaking in. And, physical security is not one of those things that you just kind of set up and forget about because over time, Mother Nature can be a motherfucker. And that right there, I was like, I bet with a hammer I could just knock that thing off and open that door.
Not even that. The top one's so fucking bent, I'm pretty sure you could just take a drill and back that one bolt out and then just kind of pop the head off the other.
That was probably held in there by rust. It'd be harder to get out. But yeah, that kind of crap.
Because you don't need to use your lock picking skills for your lock.
Oh yeah, we didn't even have lock picks with us that day.
I had ordered some from Deviant, but they got lost in mail rerouting in between me moving. So those disappeared somewhere.
The beer can shim didn't work there either?
We didn't.
We're getting to really fun shims afterwards because we're about to get into the mitigation that they did after all of our break-ins.
And some might fuck you to that.
Okay, so here's all the mitigation they did. and I'm just going to let this play so I can point out some things. So blue team comes back behind us, and they put in these plates. Yeah, I can pause it. So they put in these plates to tighten the door jambs.
Well, they're door edge protectors, and supposedly the company that's doing it manufactured this or has a patent on it. But they put one on the door, and they also put one up in the door frame, and it makes it tight enough that you can't even fit the prox card in between the gap anymore. Not only that, they crammed a deadbolt on it.
Yeah, you can see right here the deadbolt that wasn't there in the previous picture. They put that on, so that'll definitely help keep, just. But
then the bigger fail is, you see the little box halfway up the door?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those little push button codes, and we found out that you don't actually have to push those in any particular order as long as you hit the right numbers.
Now if you ever see one of those little push button boxes on.
We're gonna have to edit that part out.
Probably.
I've got the same code on my luggage.
Dude. No, that one I can tell you because it's not our company's fault. It's fault. So any door that's into an electrical room that's made, and you got a key. Except for the fact that on that particular box it was the wrong key. It didn't match the door. So we were walking around with our security guy a few days later, just showing him how we broke in. He couldn't get in. He was like, "Okay, I'll open this up," and I think we were trying to get a ladder out of there. And he messed up the code a couple of times, and they finally got the key out, and they put it in the door, and it wouldn't open. So he went back to his car and grabbed the kitchen knife and popped it open.
Well, so here's the thing. Because he
You should have seen his face.
Well, because he knew that we were coming in on Saturday, he thought he was going to be sneaky and replace the key with just a random
Because
key.
he thought that we were going to actually pop the key box and get the key out. So he'd forgotten he did that, and then he locked himself out of the electrical. So that was fun. Okay, this is the door that just had a plug on it. And as you can see, they added some plating in to make it so you couldn't shim as easily. They replaced the plug with a real one. So now that one, as far as we're concerned, is too big a pain in the ass to attempt, given...
But aren't the screw heads on the outside?
No, those are riveted. Well,
Yeah,
those are bolts.
Yeah, those are either bolted or riveted. I'm not sure which, but we took a look at it.
No, the ones on the right, because there's a strip there.
Oh, well, the strip is riveted in.
You can still take a chisel to that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's just kind of to fill the gap a little bit.
That's the real problem, and we've been trying to explain this to our CIO, that the problem here still remains that there's glass on either side of this. I mean, really, if you start talking about, you could chisel the rivets out, or I could bring a plasma torch, or just bring a brick.
Yeah, or one of those little 5-pound steel dumbbells, just start hunking that through glass all day. I mean, you could go in real fast that way, faster than even shimming the doors.
Did they install any of the window sensors afterwards?
We're still working on it. They're still beefing up after all the crap. So, but we're working on a little bit of everything.
Is this what you guys normally do for the company, or is this something you just...
We don't normally do network administration, help desk crap, but we just pointed out that even we could break in.
Well, no, I mean, taking the initiative is awesome. I just want to know if this is what
You'd like it
full time. So.
Well,
we'd like it
anytime we see something, we're like, and our CIO either goes, do it or prove me wrong.
It's most of the time it's proving wrong.
What's behind all these doors that people want to steal?
Well, we
I'll
can tell you
tell
what
you.
our company does, but we get in trouble with our CIO.
Yeah.
But basically, our company handles around $6 billion a year in business, and we have around, at least 500,000 in computers.
No,
300,000, that's just the max. That's not counting.
350,000 in Mac hardware alone, not even counting servers or anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so...
But any idiot looks in the door and goes, oh, hey, Mac Minis, those go more like pawn shops than anything else. Good news is, at least they're all PGP protected.
Well,
For what that's worth.
that's a whole nother talk.
Because Semantic owns them now, so we don't talk like that.
Yeah, actually,
I got Norton. You can't hack me.
actually, PGP.
I'm behind 7 Trumps.
PGP 10 to MP4. That particular release is because of me. Sorry.
Yeah, if you put in a feature request or a bug report or something, they actually pushed out a new version of PGP because of something you pointed out.
Well, the problem is that 10.7.3 with the MP3 version of PGP, when you updated, it would drop the bootloader, and then you just couldn't get back into the machine.
That was handy. Back to physical security, though. This was the first door they put the multi-locks on. If you haven't heard of or seen them before, they're ridiculous and not something we would try to pick. They've got active pins in the keys as well as in the lock, so they're a massive pain in the ass.
Although I did try and pick it, and I got a smidgen of rotation, but not enough to be anything significant. But I'm almost half guessing at that point, if you can get enough pins that you can kind of get it to rotate a little bit. If you notice, the keyway is kind of big because it's a kind of a big flat key that goes in there. If you could get something in there with enough torque, you might be able to snap the remaining pins.
Why is it called multi?
Because some of their lock configurations can have up to 30 pins, and the pins that they use are like a barrel and a pin system. So not only do you have to move the barrel around the pin, you have to move the inside pin as well. And I believe they fixed the issue where you can just overlift the center pins and open everything. That exploit's a couple years old for those locks, but yeah. And then the keys have an active, like, spring-loaded pin in the key itself that has to, interact with the lock.
This was the door that was our primary point of entry on building 1, that he popped with a butter knife in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, I can't do this one anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, he spent hours trying to craft a shim to fit in there, but they put in a plate.
Well, not only the plate, but now we're actually using the little deadlock switches, that little pin at the bottom of the door.
What?
Yeah, we're actually using those now, so now you actually can't just force the latch open.
So you're saying the best form of security is just having a secondary key on the foot?
Well, no, so all locks, even your little crappy home locks, you'll see the door latch, you'll see your normal latch, and you have that little itty-bitty pin that's like this big on the top. That's supposed to be pushed in by the little latch guard that goes into the door frame, and that keeps the latch from just being able to be pushed open. Half of these didn't have that fully engaged.
Which is why we do butter knife.
Right, which is why you just push the latch in. So we've got all that fixed now. So already, like, even just doing that, you can't just easily get in unless, of course, Mr. Brick comes along.
Right, because again, glass.
Well, and the laminate is like, it's like $300 a door just for the laminate, and then plus labor. And like just to do like one side of the building is like $3,000 worth of laminate. What else, guy?
Right, but it stopped me from stealing 300 and something $3,000
seems like
Yeah, that's a conservative estimate. That's just the max that we acquired this year. That's the number he's going off of. There's at least $500,000 in computer equipment.
No, the 300,000 is, I think, life of the company. Really? Yeah.
So if you're putting the doors on here when it was first built, is it cheaper to have someone come along and put this stuff on the crappy doors or to buy a good door?
Honestly, a lot of this has to do with just the way everything was built to begin with. I mean, generally when you make an office building, at the beginning, whenever you first move into a space, you want to make sure it's all straight, but, then you have landlords and shit like that, they don't always let you do stuff. Which actually, the landlord for us is a little mad with us because of, like, all the shit that we've been doing, including the one on, like, the utility closet. We had to make sure the key is the same from the top and the bottom so they can still
Georgia Powers.
You think they would be happier about that?
You would think, but no.
Well, the thing is, the landlord doesn't care, really, about the security of our company. They care about what it is they want for the building.
Well, they care about their liability.
How to get into your house?
What's up?
No security flaws you get in. Do you think you'd be happy?
Oh, yeah, we threatened to do that to our CIO.
No, but they, why is he mad about them fixing it?
Because they make changes to the building.
So what's the improvement in his building?
Anyway, apologize. So, even still, doing this to a building after the fact, so let's say, the building's been alive for 5 years and you're not the first person in there. Whoever was in there first probably didn't have high security in mind. They probably had, it's got a fucking lock on it and it's got the, nice thick claw that goes down in there at the end of the day and, that's the end of my day, it's fine. When you start using all the auto latches and everything that we use because of the ARFID readers, then stuff gets a little different because those are all a latch system and it's not a locking system at the end of the day. You've got A, auto latches, and B, control. If we really wanted to be cruel, we could, cut into the silly little aluminum frame around it or drill into it, pull the cable out, cut the cable just for the latch, and just tap it on a 12-volt battery and pop the latch open.
So, what's all this you say about opening something with a can of spray duster?
Oh, we're talking about the proximity sensors. I mean, if you work in a building where on one side of a door there's an RFID reader or some other kind of authentication, some sort of electronic lock. On the other side of the door, if you're not worried about people from here going into there, you'll just have a proximity sensor. So as you walk up to the door, it pops it, right?
So like when you go to Kroger and you walk up and the door just automatically opens. Same thing, but instead of automatically opening the door, it just releases the mag lock or trips the door latch.
If I take from a 5 code standpoint, they pretty much have to do that.
Yeah, but
Right.
so here's the thing. So we start turning that off around 5 o'clock now. But on just in general, like for any company, after 5 o'clock near the end of the day, when you have people starting to leave for the day, on the weekends, at night, shit like that, you probably shouldn't have those enabled because they used to just be, hey, locomotion, and now they have ones that detect body heat as well, but it's not actually body heat, it's just a pretty decent change in difference.
Yeah.
So when you turn the can of duster upside down and you make a nice little cool cloud, it sets off the sensor.
Yeah. So and that's something that we didn't think about while we were trying to break in through one of the doors where we were trying to fool the proximity sensor, but
Yeah,
since
no,
we
I
pried it open, we could have just sprayed duster in there and probably would have popped the door.
yeah, no, I owe Deviant a cookie for that one.
Julie Evan.
So anyways,
So I see where like here they've omitted and attached on the extra block panels.
Yeah.
And he's wearing different clothes.
well, yeah, this is later. This
This
is
is
weeks later after they've been building.
You still got in though, right?
Well, no, we
No,
didn't
this
get
is
it.
during the day at work.
This is all mitigation. We're just showing what they
Yeah,
did.
this is the mitigation part. This isn't during break. This is
Actually-
what they did after to try
Yeah.
to mitigate.
Everything they've actually done, it's been a bitch and a half to get past, and I've been working with the company that's been doing all this for us. And so as they finish something, I go behind them and see if I can break it, and if I can, they just fix it on spot and don't charge us any extra.
And you are the insider, right? So if you're pissed off and it's not worth your time, then it's like
Exactly, and that was something else we had brought up to our bosses. Look, we're generally good-natured people, but let's say we have some more dishonest people in the company. They know the layout, they know what's up, they know what's going on. And granted, we might just be pissed off and give you the finger and say fuck you on our way out the door, but we're not going to come back. Some of these other people might. And then we've had a couple active shooter threats before in the past and stuff like that. So
Those are always fun.
yeah, honestly, protecting our people is much more important than anything else.
Well, with that being said, do you guys utilize mantraps in any way?
Well,
Like piggybacking?
all the main entrances except for a couple do have man traps, and it's all the main entrances that you're going to look at. All the other ones are, nice thick doors that you're not going to, really walk into. So, you have the lobby, you have that door which has a prox reader on it, but that's open during the day, because if you can't get into the lobby to talk to the person and say, hey, I have an appointment with someone, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So there's that, but then we have a door right where her desk is that you can't get in without either someone from the company letting you in or her letting you in. And then we disable her special switches,
After about 1700, whenever she goes home.
Well, it's whenever she goes home, or we can just disable them just because we feel like it. We've had some threats before where, if we've had someone call up pissed off and they say they're going to come up there regardless of what they say they're going to do, if they just say they're coming to the building, we disable her switches, we lock down all the exterior doors. If you want in, you got to have a good reason to come.
That's great of you guys.
Yeah, so we do take our physical security seriously, just I don't think anyone before actually took the hacker mentality to it of, A, can I break that, and B, how can we fix it if we break it? And,
roof access?
huh?
Do you have roof access?
Yes, we do.
Roof access.
Roof access? Yeah.
We got on the roof, but there's nothing on the roof you can get inside with.
Yeah,
But
pretty much you can get up to the roof, but you can't get into the building down from the roof. That was something that we wanted to try, but unfortunately no Mission Impossible stunts for us.
now, although there is a couple areas that if you were to go through the glass, you could bring a ladder with you and just go up into the ceiling and go, oh hey look, all the wires go this way, and find your way, through the ceiling. But we're being dicks about that and putting motion sensors above the drop ceiling so that if you actually get up inside the drop ceiling, we trigger an alert.
We call it Tom Cruise proofing. There's another shot of these wonderful multi-locks that we got. You can see the really weird pins.
And you can kind of see the barrel pins. So
Yeah.
They're actually really nice locks, and the guy said that if I can pick through it, he'll give it to us for free.
And we had a lot of these installed.
Yeah, so I'm still working
He's
on
working
it.
really hard to try to break it so we can get those for free because they were not cheap.
Well, and I'm hoping he'll give me a couple to take home and put on my doors of the house.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
After you break it, you want them to
Well, as long as it's bitchier than a normal lock, but
Yeah, this was the primary server room, which you saw him just use a plastic card and shim open. This is one of the cooler mitigation effects I thought, which was instead of just putting a latch guard on one side, it's actually got components on both.
yeah, no,
parts of
it's
the
a
door.
really cool concept until you discover the weakness of it. But so it's essentially U with a L bracket that goes into it so that you can't push anything through it. And on one side they use those annoying ass screws that only can screw and you can't screw out. You just kind of have to drill them out after that. So that's okay. That's not bad. It makes it a lot harder unless you've seen it. At which point, there's that, and then I go to Home Depot and for $4.93 pick up a piece of aluminum, sheet that you just use for edging roofs to make them look pretty.
You mean like that one?
Yeah, and cutting a side off of it and cutting, a slight angle at it to push the latch and bend it a little and cram it in the door and, oh look, it fell down and opened the door for me. So for $4, so for $4 I mitigated your $80 mitigation.
So basically the point is, when it comes to physical security, if there's a will, there's someone who will find a way and use it. So basically it's something you have to constantly work on. It's not something that you can just set up once and forget about because, the longer any kind of physical security has been around, the more likely it is someone's figured out how to get around it.
Yeah, no, and I was actually half thinking about, I wonder if I can, do SQL injection against the Orphic readers because they all talk back, like any system nowadays, talk to a freaking SQL database of some sort. Now, whether that be, Microsoft SQL or, MySQL or whatever SQL they're using, regardless, is a SQL database. So, what can I actually pass through this system that'll actually talk into it? Is it literally it's only talking bad numbers, or can I actually push something more interesting through it? So I don't have a prox card writer, so I can't really play with that. But interesting concept for someone else to take and run with.
Someone's been working on Arduino-based RFID spoofers. Basically, use a coil of wire to be able to send what you want to send.
Yeah, you just make an antenna out of the wire, yeah. And they have ones that you can actually, there's some people that have gotten lazy and straight up ballsy, and they have an automated one that's already built for you. And they'll sit there and, brute force its way through the prox cards. And I've seen some people, I've watched videos of people, cramming a safety pin in it and just leaving it there, hanging over the door, going through all the numbers until the door pops open.
At that point, what you're worried about is how sophisticated is the back end of your system. Because on the system where we work, Jason would be getting an alert for every failed attempt. But that's not true of all RFID readers, so you gotta know your system.
Well, and then there are some other odd ones that the actual readers themselves store a small database of all the people that are allowed in the building. So if the power goes out, the reader itself stores it, and it's memory that you can actually get into on some readers. Ours aren't like that. Ours are pretty much like it talks back to a control board, and the control board keeps everything. But there are readers that the readers themselves hold, actually have a small Linux distro running on them. But those are the, the readers that go over IP, so they're actually, little mini OS. So you can't actually get into the root folder with base passwords, because the administration setup, you can't change anything or it breaks everything. So design flaws on security company parts. But so if you find those, you can just go ahead and enter your own and wander into any door you want. A lot of these readers, until I got OCD on it, didn't have any security screws. It was just a basic Phillips screw, and you just and take it off. They're supposed to have tilt sensors in them and stuff like that to set off an alarm.
And they don't.
I didn't see one.
Yeah, they're not in there.
At least it didn't set off an alarm as far as I know, and Jason didn't tell us it did when we took a couple off. So, but again, then you got to look at the work of your installers. Some of these people put it together with electrical tape, twist together and electrical tape. At which point it makes me sad and cry that you couldn't at least put heat shrink tubing over it. Because what do you need for heat shrink tubing? Heat shrink tubing and a lighter.
Any questions? Yeah? Cool. All right, we're done.
Okay, now I gotta say, I don't know why you decided to do a lightning talk because that was straight up a full-on talk you should be doing on stage somewhere.
Well,
Yeah, do the Skylar con. Submit your CFP, please.
Yeah.
Because that was rather interesting and a lot of humor, a lot of good stuff in it. So yeah,
we should have some more stuff a little later on for it.
Yeah, we still got to do network red team for that company, so that's going to be fun.
there'll be police reports and.
Well, I was gonna say, someone turn the camera off real quick, because